If I could take you away to a better day, oh how our love would turn out okay. And if you just listen to me, we could vanish in our sleep, and together just you and me. If they could understand the position they put us in, if we can only be real about the way that we feel, then we could fly away to another time and space. We could love in our own rejected way. If I could just do to you all of the good things you do, we could
Squeeze the berry juice out of love.
And if that ain't enough, I'll set a fire to your funky stuff. Woman, I'll
Put the fire out with more love.
Daddy's got a real need for you. I know you got a thing for me too. Wherever, whoever, or whatever, we gotta do what we got to do. We're gonna keep on trucking. We ain't just standing on the verge. We're gonna give love all we can muster. Every time we hit the earth, I'd like to tell the world where to go. If they don't like our show, I'd like to
Kiss this old world goodbye.
And if you just listen to me, we could vanish in our sleep, and together just you and me. Hang around, baby, I got more to say. Ooh, baby, that's right. Yeah, baby. Feels so good. Oh, baby, you just make me feel so serious. And I used to be a practical joker. Oh, yeah, baby. like water on a desert table. And I'm so thirsty for you. Give it here. It's mine. Give it here. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Yeah, baby.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of Funk from the Front Seat right here at 9 on the Grind TV. I felt a little vanishing, not sleepish this morning. I wanted to ease it in, like my New York Knicks. We're going to ease in Indiana and get this one tonight. Yeah, it's a lot happening, and we're going to get into some things today. Mark and I are going to do a little recap on our month of anniversary guests and thank them all. And I think I got everybody that I can remember. But we got a few shout outs. We got some updated P Funk news from P Funk Radio and some good things. And but first of all, I just want to give a shout out to anybody that has a birthday today and anybody that has an anniversary today. And also anybody that has a anniversary of a loved one or a spouse or significant other that transitioned out. We have a lot of that. And we just can pray and keep those people in our heart like the universe wants us to do. I want to shout out for sure Keith Jackson. Yo, bro, stay strong. We love you. We got you. We just want you to get through this thing, and we're all praying for you and your family and all that good stuff, man, and want you to know that. And for those of you that don't know, my dog David Webb, he's covering and he's going to be doing his thing on P Funk Radio very, very soon. So congratulations to David. Funk Chronicles Hall of Fame and Exhibition Center, of which I'm a member, so that's really happy. And for my boys, Nappyhead Funk Army, and my dogs and girls, that my OGs, it's nice to have our picture hanging in there next to the likes of the Bootsy Collins and Zaps and George Clintons of the world and Boogie Munsons of the world, and all the great artists Lakeside and all the people that he has in there. That aren't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they're in the Funk Hall of Fame, and just to be even mentioned in that was an honor. And the fact that my dogs, which is now we've been our brands, from New York, we started in '98, so I think that's about 27 years, and I'm very proud of that. Shout out to George DeFunk Vinci, and also one of my sponsors, Cindy K. Lane, for hooking me up, and you can see the original Funk Vinci. And they're getting ready to do their thing and blow it up in August down there in Texas with Hector Garcia, the mothership, Garrett Scheider and his crew gonna be down there, so it's gonna be all that. And a little birdie told me that one of my funk sisters, Shirley Clinton, is doing something in DNA Funk, and her concert is going to be here in North Carolina in Greensboro, of which the captain Tony Cam. Is going to be there, debuting a lot of his original material, and I'll be a part of that as well. So I'm grateful to be keeping that funk alive. And of course, the Nappyhead Funk Army, we go out on our mini tour in August. We're going to be in Roanoke, Virginia, and Blacksburg, so y'all can come check that out. And the funk is moving. The funk will survive just like it always has, always will, and always does. To quote the doctor, the funk will survive just like it always does. You know what I mean? Because that's what we do. Shout out to Bootsy Collins, album of the year. He's touring all over the country, amazing artist, and I know it's amazing that music is outrageously just over the top, through the moon. And we have one of his songs tracks queued up. We're gonna play that later. And also shout out to the doctor, because I know y'all get ready to travel overseas. Safe travels, George. Carlon and the P Funk All Stars, and love you guys as always, man. You guys are holding it down like we know you do. So there's a lot of things going on. It's summertime. It's June. Don't forget your dad coming up next month because it's Father's Day. Dads always kind of get pushed to the back seat. Sometimes, we don't really need ties and lawnmowers and tools and cars and all of that. Sometimes all the dad needs is for his children to acknowledge him and just say simply, "I love you, Dad." So that's I think something that maybe you guys can keep in mind if you got a dad or if they're deceased or whatever. But just know that, like, fathers, we don't need none of that stuff. We just sometimes just need our kids to say, "Hey, I love you. Thank you for whatever you did, good, bad, or indifferent." Um, it's a lot going on in the world right now. My producer, Mr. Mark Lee, is back there. Always fast, never last, always classy, never sassy, keeping it funktastic back there. My dog, Mr. Mark Lee, I love him for that. 5 years of doing this show with him, and it's just time flew by like that. Time flew by so fast. I went through a time warp, and when I came back through, my beard was blue. So y'all figure that one out. Y'all figure that one out, all right? Shout out to Sonia Murphy down there in Texas. Shout out over here to all the people that need, some loving and some TLC, over there in Garner. I know who you are. And shout out to all the people that had any type of struggle or family member, because May, and we're at the end of May. So yeah, May is was like the mental health awareness month. And we're going to be doing a special show sometime in the future with a good friend of mine, an author, Jen Vanderputten, and she's on my show a lot. And she's going to come on, and she's been willing to share her personal story of her and her spouse and what happened. And I'm not going to give any details about it, but it's going to be a mental health moment. And I think everybody, should check that out and check on each other. And here's to, all the ancestors. I got my ancestors burning, and shout out also to Lisa Love out there with Victor Taylor, and she put out some new material. And also somebody that's been on the show that just dropped something, and I saw it on KTU up in New York, Trey Donia, through another, funk brother of mine, Milo Z. Trey Donia has some new material out too, so you guys can go to Facebook and check all that out. All social media outlets, of course, are running all of the come ups and the people that are leveling up, and we all going to do that in 2025. No matter what happens up top in DC, we can overcome anything, because we always have and we always will. The United States, which is why I did that song specifically, United We Stand, because we know what happened. We know the bad side, and it's up to us now to change that narrative and make it good. Okay, I think I got all that out the way. I have a few other things. Oh, you know what? Let me take off my glasses, Bubba, so you can see me. Yeah. So, well, let me put these on so I can see what they ain't looking at. There we go. That's much better. Okay. So, I've been trying to get the light since I moved into this new apartment. It's kind of weird where I'm at, so I got to if you see me squirming around a lot, and where I'm at, I got to figure out how to manipulate the light, the cable, and all this other stuff. So I'm still working on it. I've only been here a month, so hopefully it'll work out. I know I got to hold my head up, and because if I go like that, then it's too dark. So I'll try to figure out, maybe I need light from underneath or whatever. Shout out to Oak City Music Collective, and also to my guy Oliver, and also to this new company that I'm going to be working with, that we're going to start shooting our new Nappy Head Funk Army video next month. Shout out to Muhammad, man. You guys are amazing, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to that. And also, thank you, Janice, for ordering the stuff that I need. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let me see. Who else? Oh, so yeah, check this out. We used to have a quote of the day, a word of the day. We used to have a saying of the day, right? So now, I've been pulling up some things, and this is, since I practice a lot of Buddhism or whatever, this is one of the sayings that I try to, wait, hold on. Let me get this right. Okay, that's better. That's better. That's what I was trying to do. Okay. Um, I always pull up sayings and things that I read every morning before I get out into the world and get my life going, right? And whether it's a prayer or whether it's a quotation or whether it's one of my mantras, I have 10 things that I say 3 times a day, and we speak them into existence. And that's how, we manifest the things that we really, really need in our lives to make our lives better. And this is from one of the writings that I found, and it says, and I quote: "All effort and exertion put forth by man from the fulfillment of his heart is worship, if it is prompted by the highest motives and the will to do service to humanity." All right, now I'll read that again. All efforts and exertion put forth by man from the fulfillment of his heart is worship, if it is prompted by the highest motives and the will, key word, the will to do service to humanity. All right, and that's my quote of the day. And basically, what I take from that um, is whatever we do, it's a service to humanity if we're serving it and we're doing it from a place of good and from a place of love and from a place of peace, right? And I kind of think that's something that I'm going to try to read every day for myself, because I truly believe that peace will always overcome the darkness, and the light will always overcome, the darkness. And there's a lot of darkness that's been happening that we knew we saw coming a while ago. Um, we all kind of knew that eventually some of Babylon would fall, as Marley would say. Um, and we're seeing it. And again, I'm not here to tell anyone what their opinion should be. That's why we do a disclaimer. These are just my opinions and what I think about it. Before we get into that, and I definitely got to touch base on the elephant in the room. There's a couple of them. We got a political elephant in the room. We have a uh, artist, rapper kind of guy doing what he did and what he's allegedly said he did, and the people involved in that. And then you have the opinions of people that feel the negative impact from the experiences they had with it. But AI is something that has been on my mind for a while, and I'm going to hit on that really hard. And in my B block and C block, we'll talk about Diddy and the Don and Donald and all this other stuff. But before I do that, JTRP, we love you, man. Gabe Gonzalez, P Funk Radio, Robin Circle of P, Philly Phil. Get on that funk buses on P Funk Radio as well. And now David Webb, out of Dayton, Ohio. So it's nice to see the mothership and the P Funk Radio family expanding itself, because more music is just more music, is more music. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. Bootsy and Patty, of course, Club Funky Ambassador, Vice President. I hold that very sacred and dear, so thank you for that. My funk fam over there in Seattle, you know what I'm saying? Cindy K. Lane, I love you and your family, and we're going to get that music done. We got some exciting news about some guests that we're going to have coming up in June, and Cindy's a big part of that, and I'll tell you about that, in a little bit. Tony Cam and the Funk All Stars, Nappy Head Funk Army brand, Oak City Music Collective, um, Afterglow 92416, Q&A Entertainment, and Donna. Special shout out to you, Donna Sneed. She's been going through a lot, so let's love her up on Facebook. Let's give her the hugs and the love that she needs. And Otis, hit me up. We talk all the time. Brooke Clagett, my funk angel, thank you for always tagging me here and there. I appreciate that. Joe Keys is out there with the Late Bloomer Band doing his thing. And I know he had a 15-year anniversary, I think, of his band being together. So shout out. I'm trying to get him back on the show. He was one of my very, very, very first guests. Back when COVID was happening and nobody could move around, Joe he brought his rehearsals to the show when we had first started, right? And it was really cool. Him and Michael P. They were actually playing live, and I'll always appreciate that, man. And we're gonna try to make that happen again. Patricia Dioria, Aquarius Rising on Curtis Wilcox, the boss, and George DeFonco Vinci, of course. Like I told you, boom, I rock his creations all the time, and this is by way of Sydney. So thank you for that. Um, David Brooks, Dr. Brookenstein, thank you because I call you in the middle of the night to update the website, and you always hit me back. Boom, boom, you got it. So I love you, bro. And DJ Cocolino in Italy, thank you. DJ Elizabeth in Ireland, thank you. And DJ Monica in Switzerland, thank you for always taking the music that I've been blessed to create and playing it overseas where people can really feel what this funk thing is about that the Napier Funk Army is doing. Um, and David Webb, of course, I shouted him out earlier. We appreciate all you guys. So I got all that out the way. The housekeeping is done. The bills are paid, which is great. Always got to do that. All right. Mark, you back there, bro? Come on in and try to get that glare out the way if you can. Yeah, that's what's up. How you doing, bro? Let's
I'm
start.
doing good. How you doing?
You are a published author, so tell our audience about that.
Yes, I'm a published author. Our good friend Brian Shulman reached out to me at the beginning of the year, and he's got this whole Voice Your Vibe book. And my chapter was about how there are different kinds of brothers. Your family, there's your blood family, which I got Malik and I got my mom and dad, and of course my nephews. But there's also your spirit family. So that's what I was writing about, was how a lot of times you got to that soul family. Of course, I consider you a brother that's part of that soul family, as well as other people that are part of this show regularly, like Tony Cam and uh, David and a number of others as well, and of course Bootsy and Patty. But definitely there are those people that are part of your soul family. Is kind of what the essay that I wrote was, because it was like a collection of different folks that were showing how we got through the pandemic in those difficult times, and we did it in different ways. So Brian had these two shows, shout out Wednesday, shout out Saturdays, and what's up Wednesdays, and everything like that. So we gathered, and we were from around the world, and we developed these kind of connections, and all along those lines. So that's what the essay was about, and I used some examples both in my world here in Durham as well as other places in the world where I might not be blood related, but we are related in other ways.
Yo, that's what's up, man. So congratulations.
Yeah,
Much success.
thank you. Hoping to get in another collection, maybe even write it. I've had some people that have told me with all the stories that I've got. I actually talked to one of my coworkers, and we were going over some of my family history and some of the other history. And they're like, "You got to write a book," meaning that maybe it's time to be part of not just another collection, even though I was glad to be part of that collection, but also get some of these written thoughts. Some of them are on this show. They're on my own show, The Online Dinner Party, which is on that other network and everything like that, but to put them actually down on paper. So at some point I need to write down these experiences. Some of these experiences were definitely very positive, having that rich family legacy and everything like that. But then there was also bumps in the road. I know you've had some bumps in the road, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't have some bumps in the road, including some relationship bumps and some financial bumps. So some of that might get detailed in the book whenever the book gets written, because we all got books in us. I'm convinced you got an entire encyclopedia, Zach, because I've heard some of
Dude,
your.
bro, man, let me tell you, I got a universe full of stuff. You know what I realized though, as I've gotten, more mature, I become a minimalist
Right.
almost. I need less things now. There was a time where I needed a lot of things, and what I'm understanding about life is that life has become the thing that I need more than
Mhm.
anything else. You
Right.
know, but I do got a quick shout. I want to run some of these real quick, so sit tight for a second,
What
all
up,
right?
everybody? This is Kevin from the Kevin Harrington Experiment, and you're watching Funk from the Front Seat with my brother, Zach, Funky Number 9 Robinson. If you didn't know, now you know.
Yeah, I had to get that one in for Kev. Thank you, Kev. I appreciate you. A lot of times when people go through whatever trauma, whatever things happen, just things, man, life itself, right? And we come out on the other side of it. You know, it does something to us. It changes us a little bit. like besides all the other stuff that happens in a person's life. Like for me, it was what I went through last year
Right.
with the cancer, and it just gives you a different perspective about things that are important and things that are not. And I think that's part of what a lot of people in this country are understanding now is that the things that we thought were so important, we realize that without the right leadership, those things can be taken away, as well as things that are really important. And I think people are starting to wake up, and they're starting to understand that at some point, this country has got to stop the cycle.
Mm.
We're in so many different cycles. We're in a cycle of hate. We're in a cycle of change, you know, and the change is good for
Right.
some, but it may not be good for others. Now, the positive thing to that is that I think the cycle of love and the way that we're cycling up is abundant. You just got to know where to see it, grab it. I mean, how to grab it and where to find it at. And I think that's the thing that we can hold on to. We'll be like, okay, no matter what you do to me, I got somebody that loves me. They love me. I love this tribe. I love the people. That kind of thing.
Right.
And I think that's where we're going to defeat a lot of this stuff. You know, and I don't want to get too deep into the president and his cronies and his crew. Everybody obviously knows where everybody stands by now. But in your opinion, what do you see positive that is happening coming from this current administration?
I mean, the one thing he's doing is
I'll be
starting to
right back.
mobilize people. It's starting to mobilize people, so people are starting to be mobilized, and they're starting to think of ways that they can make a positive change. And sometimes it's definitely going directly against what he is doing, but sometimes it's also, as you just said, realizing the changes that you can make in your own community and how you can make those changes within your own community. Like one of the things that you were talking, and I know that you've mentioned it before because you are a New York native and all along those lines. And I was just curious, so I just typed in Google because Google is a wonderful friend, and all along those lines, I was wondering if there was going to be a revival of Woodstock, and ironically, there is going to be a Woodstock revival in 2025 in the month of August. So that's actually not that far away from now. It's August 15th through the 17th, and that's what's planned. So I typed it in, and that's what came up, and they said that they were aiming to capture the essence of the original Woodstock while incorporating modern elements. So definitely it looks like they are trying to do this, and definitely that's something that I'm seeing is people mobilizing themselves. Even yesterday here at the center, we had a young lady that is a Supreme Court justice, comes from a mixed family background. I think it was her dad that's black and her mom that is white and everything, but they were a couple at a time that wasn't acceptable, like around the time of loving, because Anita Earls is not a spring chicken. I'm guessing she's probably in her 50s, maybe somewhere around that age range, but her parents were definitely there at a time that was
So
being.
hold on. I didn't mean to cut you up, but go back to the Woodstock thing. So I heard about this thing, and the last one that they did was a disaster because it was at an airport hangar place, and they had it all screwed up. And that was back, I guess, in the 90s, 2000s. Whenever they tried to do it, it was a complete bust. Now, this new thing that they're trying to do, is it from what you're telling me, is it because of the climate that we're in politically, or is it because they want to introduce more artists? What is the purpose? Because see, Woodstock, and I was 11 in 1969, and I wanted to go. My dad wouldn't let me go, but we knew about it as kids.
Right.
And see, it wasn't about faking the funk. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Like, it was no genre introduction on the billing. It was like, these are the artists that everybody wants to hear, from Sly to, whoever, right? And we're just going to have them do a concert, 3 days, Hendrix, whatever, right?
And
And And what I don't like is that they're going to probably say, okay, this is the hip hop, this is the R&B, this is the whatever eclectic, the folk.
Right.
They're going to already start chopping it up.
Not only are they chopping it up, but they're doing some very interesting things. I'm just going to read what I found as I looked in the research. But it says, music enthusiasts get ready for a trip down memory lane with a contemporary twist. The Woodstock Revival 2025 is set to bring the spirit of the iconic 1969 festival back to life, blending nostalgia with cutting edge performances. So they got some different bands, and among the acts, because it says the festival aims to capture the essence of the original Woodstock while incorporating modern elements that appeal to today's diverse audience.
It's
Organizers
going to be upstate New York.
it's going to be in Bethel. It says organizers have curated a lineup that spans generations, featuring both legendary acts from the 60s and the 70s, as well as current current
Yeah,
chart toppers. And to your point, because some of these acts I can understand, like they're going to have Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney is an icon. You were definitely involved with the Beatles and everything like that. But why are you going to have Woodstock? You're going to have Beyonce, because Beyonce's going to be there on Friday night. The Who's going to be there on Sunday night. Billie Eilish is going to be on Saturday afternoon. They are going to have Carlos Santana with a special guest, and on Sunday afternoon they're going to have Kendrick Lamar. Now, one of the things you talked about earlier was AI, and this is where I think it becomes problematic. But I'd love to know your thoughts as a musician, because they're saying they're going to have holographic performances. So cutting edge technology will bring iconic performances from the original Woodstock to life, including Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin. So they're going to do.
Okay, yes. Time out. Okay, here's my thought, just my personal opinion, right? I think if they're going to try to do this, it's already probably going to try to do it and make it happen. Now, as far as holograms go, again, I had AI in my C block, but we can move it up to now, right? Okay, so I missed seeing Jimi Hendrix live.
Right.
I don't want to see an AI of him, because
Right.
I could go to YouTube clips and watch it.
Right.
Right? I'm not going to now. I guess it's an experience, and we're in the future, so this is where we are now. But I don't think that young kids care as much as these promoters think about the nostalgic acts of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I really don't. There's a handful of young hippie kids, but most of these kids nowadays, and most of the young people nowadays, they have an attention span of a gerbil. So most of those songs back in those days were 8 to 10 to 12 to 15 minutes long. Imagine a young person sitting listening to Soul Sacrifice, which is like a 15-minute song, right? They don't have the attention span for it. So my thing is, I guess they're going to try to shorten everything up, give people these little clips, drips and drabs, but they'll never, ever, ever. And this is what the other one that they did in the late 90s, 2000s, they said the same thing. We're going to capture the essence of this, and we want to do that. And see, you can't capture the essence through a hologram of a Jimi Hendrix. It can't be done. The closest thing you can do is go watch Funkadelic, Mike Hampton, Blackbird McKnight. Watch the P-Funk. They're going to give you that same experience. You can't capture Jerry Garcia's Grateful Dead experience. The closest thing you can do is go watch the Funk do it, or go watch another tribute band do it. Now, I'm not saying it's cool or it ain't cool. I'm just saying I wouldn't pay to go see it, because these artists like Sly, right? How you going to capture Want to Take You Higher being played at 4 o'clock in the morning to wake people up at Woodstock? You can't.
Not only that, but you just brought up Sly. If I remember correctly, there are, because I don't know all the names, but the names that I saw were there are some artists, including I think Joe Cocker, who was just named to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and a couple of other artists that actually performed at the original Woodstock. And I don't know whether they didn't reach out to them. I don't know if they don't want to do it because it's too much of a negative memory for them and everything like that. I don't know the reasons that they're not on there, but I know that there are some living members of Woodstock. Now, given Woodstock was some almost 50 years ago and everything, but there are some folks that are still active that were young people at that time and everything. And I did not see their names on there, even though I know that they're still active, whether that's Joe Cocker, whether that's Bob Dylan, whether that's a number of other acts that were there at the original one. And I didn't see their names on the list. They're also talking about this notion, and I know it's something you sometimes talk about because it even comes to the whole notion of how serious artists are and everything. But they're talking about this notion of having a then and now set, which is going to pair a classic artist with a contemporary performer for what they're calling a unique collaboration. So I guess they're going to try to find an artist. It's like, say, somebody that's in that 20 to 30 set that will be teaming up with a well-known veteran like a Carlos Santana.
I get it, man. And you know what? That's great. I'm happy for them. I wish them well. I'll support it. But I don't think it's a necessary thing. I just think it's another way to grab money from people, because they'll be selling the merch, the vintage merch. Okay, get your merch, right? And here's the thing. A lot of times with, say you have a younger artist that's into Jaco Pastorius or Return to Forever, or a lot of these artists that are into this eclectic stuff, they go back and listen to it like the Motet. I know they got their stuff from Herbie Hancock and Level 42. So for me, when I go see these artists and I see Motet, they're an amazing band. I'm like, yeah, but I heard Mark King do that. I heard Herbie Hancock do that. To give me something different. That's why independent artists, I kind of have more gravitas towards them, because I'm going to hear something different from, say, Enema Squad. I'm going to hear something different from Tony Cam or Shirley Clinton. I'm going to hear something different from the Nappy Head Funk Army. I'm going to hear something different from Dumpster Funk. I'm going to hear something different from, Dawn Silva, because, people that are putting out music still with the funk, it's different. You're putting out different stuff. I don't want to hear a cat trying to imitate Joe Cocker. There's only one. Now, Paul McCartney's going to drag his old ass out there. God bless him. He must be like a clone, the third clone of Paul McCartney, because that dude's got to be like 90, right?
He's up there. He's up there.
Up there. He got to be kicking triple digit. He was 20 when he came over here, and that was 60-something years ago. I'm
going to tell you right now. I'm going to look up Paul McCartney.
Find out how old that. I love the Beatles. I had a Beatles wig. The Beatles inspired me. That's why I do music. My mother, bless her heart, let me stay up to watch it on TV on the Ed Sullivan Show. That's how old I am.
Yeah, Paul McCartney will actually be hitting a birthday this year and everything. Paul McCartney was born June 18th, 1942. So in about 3 weeks, he will be turning 83. That's 83.
Yeah, I knew he was up there, bro.
Yeah, that's 83. So it'll be 83 years at that particular time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And God bless him. And again, I'm happy for all the artists. I'm happy for the music industry. But I don't like the music industry always trying to piss down my leg and tell me it's raining. You know what I'm saying? Don't. Just say, listen, we're going to do this thing. We're going to try to capture the spirit of the original Woodstock and leave it at that. Don't tell me the R&B acts of the world, which I all loved in the 90s, are going to bring the funk. Don't do that to me, because I know better. See? And again, you can fool the young people because they don't know. But you ain't fooling somebody like me, you, and anybody that was living that stuff. That's why I tell you, I'm glad they're going to do it. I just hope it turns out better than the last time they tried to do it. The last time, everybody was high on acid, and it became the rage, and they was slam dancing, and they were in the mosh pit, and people got hurt, and one girl died, young ladies were getting raped. So I'm hoping it ain't like that. I much more prefer something that a friend of mine went on the Soul Cruise, and they was like, yeah, man, they had Cameo, they had Evelyn Champagne, they had that. Little smaller things. This whole big notion of it's got to be grandiose to make sense is crazy. Now, here's one thing I got to tell you. When I was talking to Otis, right, he pulled up the Gaga thing. Right?
Lady Gaga.
Yo, dude, did you see that?
I didn't see it.
It was a free thing she did somewhere in Brazil or something. It was 200. It was I don't know, 500,000, 250,000 people there.
Wow.
Yo,
I
did you
did no,
pull
no,
it?
I did no, I did see a clip where she apparently somebody the clip I saw was she was going I think away from her performance. Somebody accosted her basically and told her that she was going to hell. She then turned around, kissed the person, and said, "Well, you coming with me?"
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but all I do know is this. See, now that's all that Illuminati stuff. I stay away from that. But it's there. Trust me, and we're gonna get to that in a minute. But yeah, I saw a clip, and she did this freak thing. Now she get ready to go on the world tour, but I think she just was testing it out there. But it was on the beach, bro, and I'm telling you, it was like if you any beach how they have the blocks in between. It was about like at least 10 blocks of
You, you,
people.
hey, you
Yeah.
brought up you brought up an interesting question, and I don't know the answer. Maybe you know the answer because I know that there has been Tom Joyner and the old school cruises. I know that one of my coworkers is now actually working on a cruise line. He's actually in charge of entertainment. This is the gentleman that used to do the tech work here and all along those lines. But I know that there are cruises for blues, and I know that there are cruises for R&B. Is there a funk cruise? And if there isn't a funk cruise, can we get Bootsy or George Clinton to do a funk cruise? Because I'm thinking that would be a great thing for the folks.
The closest thing they had is when Sinbad was doing it.
Gotcha.
Remember the thing, Sinbad? He had
Right.
Cameo, he had P-Funk, Lakeside, the Ohio Players, the Gap Band. He had all the bands that was into that funk / R&B kind of thing from back in the day. And
Right.
and he used to do Sinbad's Summer Jam or whatever. And
Right.
he took him to Jamaica or someplace like that. Remember that?
I do remember that.
Now he asked for support, and he was doing that out of his pocket for at
Right.
least 2 to 3 years, bro. And he couldn't get no sponsorship, bro. They had to stop doing it. And I know this for a fact because this is when I was dating Sheila, and she had went there, Amuka Kelly now, and she was telling me like, like that's what happened. And I was like, damn, you would think some of these black, promoters and athletes would want to promote that, but they don't. They don't promote us, bro. They just hate the fact that I guess we're still alive. I don't know what it is. It's a deep-seated hatred for the funk that it's not a hate where it's blatantly in your face, but it's like backdoor. If there's a door open for the funk to get through, somebody's gonna try to close that shit on you.
Wow.
That's why the meeting that you invited me to, and I met all those people from the Carolina Theater and the other enthusiastic people that want to do this down here and help me get into the schools to teach this stuff and start the funk school. I am so excited about that. That's one of the greatest things that has happened to me since I've been living in North Carolina, because I really, really, really want to do that. And I have the artists to do it, and I have the knowledge to do it. So I really want to share that. But yeah, let's get into this AI, because I'm so sick of this thing. Like, you can't, I used to watch YouTube for a lot of information from people that I know. And I used to watch YouTube for a lot of commercial value that I wanted to see what people were buying, what the trends were, etc. And with AI just taking everything and twisting it, now when you see an interview, you have to really, really be careful because you don't know if it's AI or not.
Yeah, there's a lot of deep fakes. There's a lot of deep fakes out there. There are a lot of things that are put out there as if they are real and everything like that, but they are probably AI or AI generated and everything like that. One of the things that has always scared me, and part of it's because one of my other jobs is the education field, is this notion that ChatGPT might be letting our students write their papers and everything. Now, I've had some people tell me that schools, whether it's high school or grade school, and definitely the colleges, are trying to stay alert of that and trying to stay aware of that and basically give the kid a non-passing grade if that is what they're doing, because they're supposed to be doing original thinking. But I'm thinking to myself, if the students are as good as I think they are, they probably can get away with it without the professors knowing it and everything like that, because it is a very scary thing. I've had even friends of mine that have told me that they have written entire scripts based on the AI, and it might be something that they had. I think one friend told me that they were supposed to do a speech, and I forget what the nature of the speech was, but oh no, it was a candidate. They were supposed to do a speech in front of the Asian community locally and everything, and they felt their speech that they wrote was lacking pizzazz, so they had AI kind of like add a Al Pacino kind of like style to it, and it apparently was a rousing speech that got all kinds of applause and got all kinds of positivity in terms of reviews, but it was totally made up by the AI. So that person thought they were getting an original speech, but it was maybe some original thought, but the brunt of the speech was AI generated, to your point. So a lot of people could be coming up with all kinds of crazy things.
Yeah, because sometimes I want to watch interviews and
Mhm.
I'm listening to AI, or I'm listening to it because I know it's AI,
Right.
right? And then all of a sudden, I'll be like, they'll be like, okay, for instance, P Funk, they'll say Glenn Gowan or Galena Gagoins. They be
Mhm.
screwing up names. So if you're gonna use AI, get the names right. They
Right.
be mixing up Eddie Hazel and Mike Hampton all the time. That be pissing me off because these people deserve better. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
So I am a big proponent that we need to really, really knuckle down on what is real and what really isn't. And I just wanted to run this really fast.
Yeah.
Our last day of Mental Health Awareness Month, suicide hotline 988. If you have any mental issues or any problems, and you feel you can't reach out to somebody, it's private, it's confidential, and you can call somebody and you can kind of talk to someone and hopefully figure out what it is that's happening. Also, newfunkradio.com. Tony Cam and all our music is on there, and Napier Funk Army and Shirley Clinton and Rob Harper and all this stuff. And that's on, and we've been kind of pushing that a little bit more this summer because we're trying to get more of those tours out,
Right.
so we can kind of do our own thing, and like I said, also it is Mental Health Awareness Month and Military Appreciation Month. So I have that down on the banner, and I'll leave that for a hot second, man.
Hey, hey, Zach, just really quickly along those same lines, and hopefully people can remember 988, which is the number to call if they're having their own mental crisis and everything. But I was just wondering because I was watching, like I said, I got home late last night, knew I had to be up early this morning to go hang out with the bird watchers and all along those lines. But that being said, and that was a very much a mental health kind of practice because it was me doing that whole nature thing that I love and everything like that. But when I was up late last night, I watched Gunsmoke, and it was about this woman who was coming to
Gunsmoke.
yeah, she was coming to town and everything, and her parents were basically killed by these folks that were basically kind of like serial killers and all along those lines. But it was a older woman and her four sons and everything like that. So they were basically terrorizing people that would be coming through the plains and all of those lines. So they killed this young lady's parents, and then they killed her adopted parents later because they wanted to get the woman to kind of like join their band of thieves and everything like that. But the thing that they mentioned, because I saw this article that mentioned it, was in 1962, they did touch on psychological abuse and everything, because she was definitely being psychologically abused by this family and everything, but they did not touch necessarily on the physical abuse, because we do know physical abuse happens as well, but apparently that was not something that the networks felt was comfortable touching in the early 60s, late 50s, and everything. So they try to stay away from that, even though you got the impression that she had probably been molested and everything, but they didn't like come out and say it in that way. But I'm just wondering, do you sometimes think that we did better in terms of covering mental abuse, or maybe we did a job of ignoring it in the like the early days of television and radio, because it was out there even back then and everything, because even some of the reviews of this particular episode was talking about the notion of this character being psychologically abused, and we know that abuse can come in all styles: psychological, emotional, physical, and all kinds of styles that mental abuse can come in.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, a lot of times when things happen and they're behind closed doors, you really don't know everything.
Right.
So but having said that, however you look at it is just wrong. So you know, Yeah, it's nowadays there are a lot more programs and a lot more eyes on everything. Just like the Me Too movement, when I don't know why that had to take so long to come about, but it did. So I guess we're plotting along, but we're definitely being set back because this dude is trying to pull every possible support system and net that catches people, and he's trying to pull all that away. So when you fall, you're just going to hit the ground. There ain't gonna be no support. So that's why we as tribe, we have to support each other. Um, that's just the only way around it. I think I got a few shout outs that I want to do too. So hang out for a minute and I'm gonna show a couple of things and for our anniversary, of course. Let me see.
Hey.
Dr. Brookenstein here, saying congratulations to Zach Robinson on 5 years of Funk from the Front Seat on 9 to Grind TV. Congratulations on your 5-year anniversary. I also want to say this.
Funk from the Front Seat, where you can watch and listen to the latest current events and also the coolest funk cats on the face of the planet. Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robertson. Happy 5 years, Baba.
Zach, I heard you had an anniversary. Well, happy anniversary. It is such a pleasure for me to wish you a happy anniversary, Zach. What you do is important, and what I receive as Vice President of I Am Walk is every bit of funk. And I appreciate it, and I wish you the best, my friend. Thank you for giving us a platform to speak our voice on your show. It's important to us, and you are important to the world. Thank you, Zach, for what you do, and happy anniversary. Dr. Pam Wilson, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
What up, my funk family? I want to wish Zach a happy anniversary. You are still grinding with 9 on the Grind TV. You got Mark in the back running the audio, video. I appreciate you guys. I want to make sure I wish you every happy anniversary every year. Cheryl from the Global Dance Ambassador with the funk, wishing you nothing but the funk. Happy anniversary, my friend.
That was amazing, Zach.
Hey, y'all. Linda Shiner here, talking about my brother from another mother, Zach Robertson's Funkin' from the Front Seat podcast. It's Saturday afternoons, 12 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock on the West Coast, and 10 and 11 in between. We talk about, I'm on there sometime, we talk about politics, music, of course, what's going on in the world, and whatever kind of floats our boat that day. So y'all check it out. Like I said, Funkin' from the Front Seat, Zach Robertson's podcast, Saturday afternoons, 12 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock West. Peace.
It's Peppermint Patty. Hello to everyone, all of our Club Funketeers all around the world. I want to say this to you. You're watching FFTFS on 9 on the Grind TV every Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern to 9 a.m. Pacific. Oh my goodness, what a wonderful show it is. And it's with our Club Funketeer, who? Zach. On the 9. Zach is the vice president of the Club Funketeers. So we lift him up every day and we thank him for keeping the funk alive. All right, go ahead. Let's do it, number 9. Peppermint Patty.
What's up, Royal Funk fans? This is Lisa Love, a.k.a. Alpha Unk Omega, coming to you from Love's Temple here in Southern California, inviting you to 9 on the Grind, Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson. This is what I want you to do for me. Tune in every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Come join the meeting of minds. I guarantee soul's growth and high vibrations, not to mention the love. Keep it funky, y'all.
Hey, this is Jen Vanderputten, writer of Code and Prose. You are watching Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Roberson. Tune in every Saturday at noon for excellent and important conversation.
Hey, this is Keith Jackson with P-Funk Radio, inviting you to check out my brother Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat. Saturdays, 12 noon on the East Coast and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. It all happens on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube. Great guest, great conversation each and every Saturday. That's Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Check him out.
This is Joe Keys of Joe Keys and the Late Bloomer Band. Just did a show with my man Zach. Number 9. That's right. Number 9's got it going on. Check out Funk from the Front Seat. Zach Robinson. Serious good vibrations, y'all. What we need. Peace.
Hey, this is Keith Jackson with P-Funk.
Hey fam, what's goody good? What's really good? My name is Jeff Roberson from the gospel group called Jeff Roberson and New Life. And I'm coming to you from the town that we had to name it twice. It's so nice. New York. New York. And I'm bringing you some news about my brother from another mother, Brother Zach, who's bringing you his hot new show called Funk from the Front Seat. Listen, he's bringing you funk from the vault, from the past, from the present, and into the future. He's got that music that makes the hair on the back of your neck rise up. He's bringing you funk all the way down to your toes. This is that funk that makes you really want to groove. Stay tuned. Don't touch that dial as he brings you funk from the front seat. Listen, let's go.
Every time I see that, yo, Jeff, that's my dog, man. That's my brother. Yeah, man. I appreciate it. And everybody that has helped make this show 5 years. It started with myself and Mark, and all the people that I shout out all the time, and you guys have been amazing. And it's nice when I go back and I look and I think about some of the things that we've done to help people and the connections that we've connected people with, Mark. Connecting people like Kevin with George DeFuncovinci, and connecting people that we never thought would be connected. So I really, really appreciate the fact that you're there behind the glass week in, week out, holding it down. And it means something, man. So, I really appreciate you, man. Nothing but love for you, man. Okay, here we go. P. Diddy, here we are. Your thoughts?
Well, like I said, one of the things you talk about P. Diddy, apparently P. Diddy, one of his main places he was hanging out at was none other than Trump Tower. So I'm wondering, how much did Trump know about all these activities that P. Diddy was supposedly doing? Because like a lot of these other folks, I do think P. Diddy was having these kind of wild parties and everything. There's even some thought and there's even some notion that even if he gets convicted, that Diddy might be the next one pardoned by Trump. He's already pardoned one of the rappers and everything.
I know. Yo, that's scary, bro. But see, here's the thing, though. I don't know which rapper he pardoned. I don't know nothing about that because I don't get into his politics at all. I don't even follow that. I ask you for my news.
Gotcha.
When I'm working, I ask people, hey, what's going on in the world? Because I'm in my own bubble, bro. I'm safer mentally when I stay in my own bubble. I can't be worried about everything else. I got 3 things to worry about: my daughters, my son is great in Atlanta, Napier Funk Army, and this right here, and then that's that. I ain't thinking about nothing else, man. Because it's not worth it. Because they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and they were all in that club anyway to begin with. So Epstein and all of them, and the molesters, and I saw this thing about Oprah the other night, and I was like, man, I get it, I understand, but I don't really get it. Hold on one second. I want to see something.
Yep.
Right? I don't really get it because, I mean, the world or the matrix that we live in, the amount of darkness that's out there, the energy vampires. Did you see this thing now that's popping up on YouTube now? Everybody's seeing werewolves.
Well, that's because of that movie. There's a very popular movie that's out there.
What
It's a vampire
movie?
It's a
I don't
vampire.
go to the movies. What
It's
movie?
a vampire movie that's out there called Sinners, and a lot of people are very much
But
interested in
werewolves? Yeah, I know that. But people are sick. There's a dude on there. He talked for an hour and a half about how him and his friends experienced the werewolf. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I just find it odd that it's coming out.
Like I said, I know that Sinners, yeah, because I know it definitely deals with vampires. If I remember correctly, I think the movie also deals with werewolves as well. So it's definitely got that.
Probably. But you know what's funny? The dude said he saw a female werewolf. The female werewolf had two sets of breasts. Right?
Wow.
Right. So he said the thing was about 9 feet tall.
Wow.
And had about an arm, like 5 foot length arms. You know, he said if the thing was standing flat foot, it could reach up and dunk a basketball. You know, and that's 10 feet off the ground. I'm like, yo, so why are we seeing? I mean, I know we're in the end times and the beginning times and the end times. I personally have experienced UFOs. I'm a ufologist. I make no bones about anybody that don't believe me because I don't care. I take a lie detector test if the CIA called me in right now to take a lie detector test and asked me what I saw and experienced, I would pass. All right, I'll pass anybody's lie detector test because I know what I saw and I know what I experience all the time. I'm blessed to see orbs. I got visions. I got clairvoyancy, whatever. Right. So werewolves are not out of the realm or the scope of our dimensional reality / non-reality. It could be, right?
Could be. I mean, a lot of these things that the people dismiss could be real, whether it's werewolves, whether it's the Loch Ness Monster, whether it's a number of things that are out there that have been part of legends and everything like that. I mean, definitely some of it is, you were talking about AI earlier, AI created, but some of it could be reality. We don't know everything that's out there, and some people could be. I've heard people say that they've got different kinds of backgrounds. I mean, and then you got people that like to dress up as different animals. I mean, the furries is a real thing. It wasn't just a TV episode in I think that was a police show that I saw it at. But there are people that literally like to dress up as animals, and they're literally folks that will dress up as cats and dogs and whatever else they like to do. So the furries is a real thing, and I'm not like you. I'm not dismissing this notion that the werewolves could be out there, vampires could be out there, and a number of other these things that are part of folklore could be actually based on reality. And by the way,
I know there's energy vampires for sure. I've been around them. I've had some try to suck me dry.
Right.
I know for sure they're energy vampires. Yeah. Because see, once you're in the light, you disturb those dark spirits.
Right.
And I know sometimes when I'm in that place and I'm in the spot and I'm like, wow, I shouldn't be here. Or I'm around somebody and I'm like, okay, I gotta get this out of my life or whatever. Energy vampires definitely exist because the world right now is full of them.
Mm-hmm.
That they're sucking us dry. They're draining us. They're draining us. That's why I keep this tiny heart.
Yep. You got to have those amulets and things to protect you, whatever those things are. People have different amulets and things that protect them in different ways. I mean, you got people that have dream catchers and a lot of other things that are protective and everything. I do have a side question, and I know it might not be on your list, but it is one of your favorite topics, and it came up yesterday when I had the campaign event here at the center. But like I said, it was 2 women running for, I think both of them are running for office. One just won and the other one is running now and everything, running for re-election. And the other one has already won in a closely contested race. But both of them were talking about that certain party mess with the wrong women now, and that they were about to unleash the fury of women power. And I know that you're a big advocate of women power. So basically, they were saying, "Hey, y'all mess with the wrong ones right now." Basically, saying
well, women are the strongest species on the planet, the
Right.
female,
right,
because they make life.
right,
So, and also too, I think women are more practical when it comes to the tribe.
right.
They worry about the whole, not all, but I would say 99%. Now you do have some ladies out there, and they do what they do, and they down with who they down with, whatever, and that's okay. The people have their own lives to live. I know this though. I know I've seen far too many glitches in life lately that have me second guessing what I'm actually seeing.
Oh yeah.
Because the other night, the matter of fact, yesterday I was driving and it was pouring rain. Then I went a block over and then it wasn't raining. And there's a video about a weatherman that saw the government seeding clouds in California, right?
Yeah.
And see if you can find it. And then the guy says, "See what happened to this dude after he said this? He disappeared."
No.
So just like the guy that was one of Puffy's bodyguards, he disappeared, or his uncle or somebody. All of these people, when you get too far inside that Illuminati bullshit thing, you disappear, or you get killed, or like Prince and James Brown, and what's the girl that died? Whitney, and then her daughter, and then the other girl that died recently, Missy, no, not Missy Elliott, the other one, Angie Stone.
But it's not just one party, as I've said on this show and I've said on other shows. Let's not forget that it was under the Clinton administration that Ron Brown mysteriously was gone and killed and everything, and people to this day have not been able to explain how that bullet came in the way and the trajectory that it came in. And
You're right. You're right. You're right. It is both things, and of course, a lot of people say some artists fake their death. Like they got now the lady Elvis Presley's maid finally came out because she's on her deathbed. You saw that?
I did hear that. I didn't hear the whole article, but she said that he wasn't as nice as people thought he was, and that he had some darkness to him as well. But she definitely was revealing a lot of stuff as she's on her own deathbed.
Because she said he didn't die the way that they said with the pills.
Right.
And then there was another lady that came out that worked for him for a while and said, he was living in the attic for a while, or the basement for a while after his death.
Right. I mean, how often do we hear that? I mean, if you go to just about any newspaper, in particular those tabloids, and you'll hear that Michael Jackson is still walking around, Prince is still walking around, Princess Diana is still walking around, and everything like that. And I'm not saying that is the facts, but there are probably some people that might have, if they are gone, they might have left later than they were reported to have left and everything. Because I mean, you still got people that are asking about Princess Diana and other folks like that as to whether they actually passed at the time they did. And then you got people like what's the famous gangster Frank Lucas and everything, that people to this day are not sure that he was rumored to have died years ago, but so you still got family members of his that are like, no, he's still around. He might just be in a different island or a different country or whatever. So there's a lot of things that goes on in that.
Well, because he was from here, right? The Frank Lucas story. But they said he died, and then now he ain't dead.
There've been some people that are family members that have claimed that he did not die when they said he died and everything like that.
But he died.
Well, I've heard some family members say that he's still living, but like I said, that was years ago. So that they may have acknowledged his death finally, but there's no death record, so who knows and everything.
Well, rest assured, God forbid something happens to me, listen carefully. I'm being cremated, so there ain't gonna be no another me walking around. And if you see somebody like me walking around and it's me, they cloned me or some shit, because I am being cremated, so I can avoid all of that. Not that anybody would care, but I don't want to freak people out.
You're not trying to do the cryogenics?
Nah, man, I can't wait to get off this planet, bro.
But you don't want to do the deep freeze? That's what cryogenics is.
Because here's my theory, just for me. Right. Between the Matrix, the Earth being in a dome, the Earth being flat, the interdimensional beings that travel in and out. There's so many things that I just want to get to metaphysically that I can't do in this physical body, but I can do in the spiritual world. Right. So now I watched this doc the other day, right? This is really deep. And the dude was explaining why we're in a dome.
We're in a dome. We're not on the Earth. There's a dome above us.
Yeah, we're in some kind of, there's like, in other words, everything we see with the rockets always going on the arc and this and that, he said we're in the dome. It's a simulation, you know, and it has a lot to do with our how we see our mental, well, not mental, but our spiritual self, you know. And he said Earth is really a prison for beings that have to come through time and time again. And I don't know where people stand on this. Some things I take and I research it, and some things I'm like, nah, that can't be right. And then he said there is a God, but some people are now saying that, you know, like God exists, but in here, and it's more like the advanced civilizations believe more about that's a superstitious thing for us, you know. Well, and I'm like, well, I don't know for sure, but I know it definitely has been pushed on us a lot.
Well, I got a question because I know you believe in this stuff, and there's parts of it that I believe in as well and everything. But I was a big fan of science fiction and all along those lines. So do you think that time travel is real? Can you actually travel either ahead or back in time? Because I've actually seen some videos where people say that there is proof of time travel and everything. And they've even said that they've traveled to like 2033 or 2075 or wherever.
Yeah, for sure. You know why I think it is? Because I think anything that man can conceive is real.
Gotcha.
And that's always been my theory. Like anything who came up with AstroTurf? Mm-hmm. Nobody didn't think about that. Oh, you're going to have artificial grass. How's that possible? But they did it, right? So anything that man can conceive, I believe we're only getting, like, I think you and I, the average Joe on the street or the average girl,
right,
we're 100 years behind the technology that they have.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly believe that. Because if the ancients had the pyramids that were actually power sources and the water runs under, and if you look at the make of a pyramid and the three, it's actually a circuitry board.
Yep.
So yeah. So and it's set up just like a circuitry board. They took the patterns from that, right? So I believe, yeah, all of this stuff I believe is coming to pass. And I think we're going to find out very soon.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we may be finding out now because this is something that I heard recently, and it has happened like a couple of days ago. I actually reported on one of the other networks that I'm part of and everything. But I know that one of your good friends, and I know him as well, even though you're more in touch with him because he's part of your management team, is from Peru, and not that far from Peru is Guatemala. And apparently, recently, as a day or so ago, they found an entire city in Guatemala that include pyramids and what you were just talking about, which is that canal system. So even though Guatemala has been an active country for decades and centuries and everything, they just now are finding this Mayan city that's 3,000 years old. So they're calling it the grandparents, which is the name that they have given it. But it's a 3,000-year-old city. So how do you find a whole nother city? Maybe we're going to find Atlantis eventually. But yeah, they found a new city that was just recently discovered in Guatemala.
Pyramids have been around all over the world. And here's another thing. See, when Teddy Roosevelt said we're going to intimately take this land, an intimate domain, and turn it into a national park for America. He did that, what, in the 20s?
Right. I think it was the 20s. Right.
There were things there then that they found that they didn't want people to know about. And the rumors are that's why he did it. The rumors are also when Admiral Byrd supposedly went to the North Pole on a weather expedition, there were UFOs there, and they found tunnels there. Now they're finding all of this stuff underneath the ice in Antarctica. Pyramids, giant spaceships, mummified bodies, and this is why Russia and the United States always fought over the Antarctic. Because they wanted that technology. Bro, it's on the scale, we're still catching up. We're like tadpoles compared to what our ancients had.
No, and I'm sorry, I got distracted, and part of it was I was laughing at something that I told you, that woman that was the one that won, not the one that was here running, but the other one. She won in a very close race, and it was a contested race. But she said that one of the votes that was challenged was literally somebody that was stationed in Antarctica. So she literally had to go make sure that that vote was a legitimate vote and everything. And she's like, if we could do that, we could do anything with technology.
Where, North Carolina?
Yeah, it was a North Carolina race.
Because we played President's Day for that lady.
Huh?
Downtown, we played for that lady.
Right, I remember that. Yeah, and she's a nice lady. I met her for the first time, but Allison's a real nice lady. And she was talking about how one of the votes that they were trying to challenge was somebody that was stationed at like one of the scientific labs there in the Antarctica and everything. So she's going like, if they could have challenged the Antarctica, they might challenge just about anything. So we really got to keep our defenses up.
All I know is this: whatever the future holds, I'm excited about it. Because, like I said, metaphysically, I've done all I can do in this Earth suit. You know, I've had 10 surgeries, may have to have number 11, you know, and all of the tension and stress goes away when your spirit leaves this Earth suit. That's all I can tell you. I know that. So if we are test tubes right now, if I'm in a simulation and I'm really sitting in some test tube with just a pair of eyes, I just want to get out and just go, you know, because I'm all about space, man. I'm serious. I want to get off this planet so bad, you know, because it's boring here. There's nothing else to do here. And it's mundane. And we fight over money and we kill each other over sneakers. You know, It's just bad here, man. It's like we got to figure out mentally how to get past all that. And I think the only way to do it is to elevate ourselves spiritually. That's why I keep my crystals with me all the time. I'm constantly praying all the time. I'm constantly trying to, here's another one of my crystals too. I'm constantly trying to put out positive energy for all the negative energy that I put out and the bad things that I did. I'm trying to offset that with the good things that I can.
You gotta offset, that's for sure.
Yeah. And you know, my nephew Brian, who's a minister, said, you know, what you did in the past doesn't make you that man now. And you know, I've always admired that he said that to me because he knows my whole story. And I'm an open book. I ain't hiding nothing. So, you know, I'm really happy. Yo, we got about 5 minutes, bro. It's been a great show.
It's been a great show. I did have a question just really quickly. Sure. One, I love what Brian said and everything because I definitely believe that the powers above means that, you know, whether God is a man or a woman, that they are looking at the whole book. That's just my philosophy. I'm not saying that everybody listens to this show, which you've done a great job of producing, and I find this an amazing show with great guests. You do an amazing show with Funk from the Front Seat and all on those lines and everything like that. But it is always giving some great insights on both the music and the politics and the culture and everything like that. So you talked about what I do, but you do some amazing things as well, and whether it's your music or whether it's this show or a number of other things. So I've got nothing but love for you, like I said earlier and everything. But I do believe that the overall picture is that they look at the entirety of your life. They don't look at because we all have done good and bad, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in family, whether it's whatever. So I think that the powers that be in heaven's gates look at your whole life journey and everything when they make those judgments. And like I said, I guess we'll all find out at some point, but I'm not trying to rush that date. But when it comes and everything like that, because that's just the nature of living and everything. My dad actually said something funny because he just had cataract surgery, and he said that he knows his warranty is running out because we all have a warranty, and the human warranty is not a never ending warranty, because he's like, basically we all have that warranty. It's going to expire at some point or another. Like me,
right? You remember the movie Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence? Okay, so at the end, right, when they before they actually got out, they faked the death and got out, and it was a Yankee Stadium. But the scene before that, he's like, they're sitting in the bedroom, and they're both really, really old, right? So Eddie Murphy looks at Martin Lawrence and he says, "We're next." And then Martin says, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "We're next." And then Martin Lawrence said, "Well, what do you mean we're next?" He said, "We on deck. Like in baseball, we on deck, right?" And then Martin Lawrence said, "What do you mean on deck?" And then Eddie Murphy, that only he could do, and hopefully you can find this clip and pull it up. He said, "The upper room." He started saying, he said, "We headed to the upper room." And man, the way he said it was so funny, because in that movie, in the script, they was right. But when Martin Lawrence said, "What do you mean on deck?" And then Eddie Murphy said, "We're headed to the upper room." And I just think that clip is hilariously funny. I love that movie anyway. The movie is hilariously funny. But I got a video that I want to show while you're looking for that.
And
I can find it, man. And we're going to get out of here. You found it?
I found it.
Okay, run that real quick if you can. I just think our audience needs to laugh and see this. And you guys will go back and watch this. We'll run it tonight and then run it again at 12.
Yeah, we'll do it the old. You know, it's definitely, we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way, just because it's quicker for me.
Yeah, that's fine. This is just a quick clip. This ain't nothing we got to worry about. Yeah, but he said the upper room.
Hold on, don't go anywhere. There we go. Preview. All right, I got it there. Yeah, I think so. Let's go. Yeah, see what I should talk about. See if I can get. All right. Hold on 1 second.
This is great.
Yeah, then I'm going to hit the old play button. Well, it might help if I actually hit the first.
We all got it.
All right. And then let's get ready to hit play. There we go.
We all got old. We all got old. Getting out to a whole new meaning. Look like Jonesy got his walking paper. We next. I mean, let's be real. We next. We don't either. You know what that is? The upper room, the motherfuckers be talking about? Upper room. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We next.
I just think that's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
Because those two brothers in that movie, the chemistry was so righteous. I could watch that movie over and over and over again, man, because there's just so many funny lines in there, you know. And I'm glad, like, you know, Eddie Murphy, whether he was in stuff or not, or people like him or not, I just think that I'm glad he's still around doing what he does, because he is one of the funniest people ever, you know, besides the greats, you know, the Richard Pryors and the George Carlins and the Lenny Bruces. And now Dave Chappelle, to me, got the mantle. You know, to me, he got it. Chris Rock as well. You know, there are a lot of great, you know, female comedians, and I just don't remember their names, but, you know.
Yeah, I want Mom Mabley was one of them, and you forgot.
Oh, yeah, Moms for sure. Moms for sure, man. Yeah, it's funny, because I watched clips of the old Richard Pryor show that only ran for 7 episodes. And there was a lot of people on there, you know, that I thought was cool. But I want to see what this is, because I lost track of what this is.
Oh, my dear. Boots are blasting up in your ear. I'm your #1 funketeer, giving you the album of the year. Hot diggity dog. Hang on like quick straw. Yeah, get down to the raw. Hot diggity dog. Bootzilla Baba.
Who?
Album of the year. Y'all check that out. It's out all over the place. Boosie's touring around and, going to different spots and, supporting, the funk and keeping the funk alive. So, that's what we do here. Keep the funk alive. It's been an amazing anniversary month. No better way than to end the show than to say thank you, Mark, from the bottom of my heart. We'll be back in June, and I'll tell you some of the guests we're going to have in June. We're going to have, my dog Tracy, Spacey T. Singleton from Fishbone is coming in. I'm going to have Cindy K. Lane, and she's bringing some surprise guests, so I'm not going to tell you who they are. So you'll have to wait and see. And I'm going to have Linda Scheider. She's coming in. And she's gonna hit heavy with the political thing. So I'm gonna have her in the month of June as well, and then also a few other people that are surprise guests that I'm not going to tip my hat on. You'll just have to wait and see. We'll have some more Nappy Head Funk Army members as well. So we're going to really do it through the summer, and then July. We're going to take probably a 2-week vacation. When did we take our vacation last year, Mark? In July? Was it July?
It was July. I think it was July.
Yeah, I think it was right around July 4th. So, yeah, we'll do the month of June live. And then July, the first week or two in July, Mark and I are going to take a much-needed vacation because we work very, very hard. And, we have, lives and families and, things to do as well. Mark, any last words or thoughts that you want to hit the people on or tell people about? Or we're going to have the incumbent mayor from Durham. She's going to come on too. So and I got a few other people from the Arts Council, so we're going to forget her. But are there any thoughts or any last words or anything you want to say about this show in reference to our anniversary?
No, you have great guests, amazing guests, and I'm looking forward to seeing the new guests. When you did those commercials, I was going like, hey, it's about time for Joe Keys to pop back on in the not too distant future, because I know we have good times when he pops in, just like we do when we have some of the other folks that are regulars and all along those lines. So definitely some great conversations, both from our guests as well as the two of us and all along those lines. So definitely looking forward to that and all in that space. And of course, like we've been saying, these are some interesting times, but we're just trying to keep people informed, but also let them know that the funk can get us through any of these hard times that we're going through, and just music in general, because I'm a big believer that music is a healing force and is a much needed healing force. And all along those lines, just like laughter is, because you were mentioning comedians earlier, and I was thinking about a couple of comedians that came to my mind, and I know we've talked about them before, but I'm a big fan, and I've watched some recent clips of Lily Tomlin, who had that big chair that she would be rocking back and forth in, Carol Burnett, and then a comedian that I literally forgot about, but for some reason her name popped into my head, but I think she might have been in Your Neck of the Woods as well. But I remember the antics of Phyllis Diller. So I was actually thinking about the great comedy of Phyllis Diller and everything like that. So for some reason, that's something else between music and laughter that can get us through these troubled times.
Who did you say passed away when I was talking to you before the show?
Yes. Big shout out, because I was a big fan of Hot Lips and the character that she played, Loretta Swit, who was on MASH, just recently passed away, and all along those lines. So if you were a fan of MASH, you know that she was a central character, and all along those lines. And of course, she had that nickname of Hot Lips on that show and everything. But yeah, Loretta Swit passed away. I want to say she was in her 80s, but it was such an iconic role that she played on that particular show. And I'm sure that you probably even have your episodes that you remember where her and who was the guy that was playing her somewhat love interest that was always there, and they would be the ones that would be getting
Alan Alda. Was it him?
No, it wasn't Al. It was the nemesis of Alan Alda.
No, the Major, the other guy.
Major. Yeah. The Hot Lips and the Major were always getting in trouble together and everything.
Yeah. That was a great show, MASH. I mean, it really was. Really was. So anyway, thank you guys. It's been an incredible month. I want to thank all the guests that took time to come on, Ken Knox and Milo Z and Shindig and Kevin Harrington and Eric J. And, all the people that sent us videos and shout outs. And I love all you guys, man. You guys were amazing. And I appreciate you, Mark, and I really do. And we're going to end the show the same way we started. So to quote my mentor, Boosie Collins, if I could take you away to a better day, oh, how our love would turn out okay. I'll see you guys next week. Y'all take care.
If I could take you away to a better day, oh, how our love would turn out okay. And if you just listen to me, we could vanish in our sleep, and together just you and me. Understand the position they put us in. If we can only be real about the way that we feel, then we could fly away to another time and space. We could love in our own rejected way. If I could just do to you all of the good things you do, we could
Squeeze the berry juice out of love.
And if that ain't enough, I'll set out fire to your funky stuff. Woman, I'll
Put the fire out with more love.
Daddy's got a real need for you. I know you got a thing for me too. Wherever, whoever, or whatever, we gotta do what we got to do. We're gonna keep on trucking. We ain't just standing on the verge. We're gonna give love all we can muster. Every time we hit the earth, I'd like to tell the world where to go. If they don't like our show, I'd like to
Kiss this old world goodbye.
And if you just listen to me, we could vanish in our sleep, and together just you and me. Hang around, baby, I got more to say. Ooh, baby, that's right. Yeah, baby. So serious. And I used to be a practical joker. Oh yeah, baby. If I could just do to you all of the good things to do, we could
Squeeze the berry juice
out of love. And if that right, baby.
And if you just listen to me, we could vanish in our sleep.
You and me, come on.
Together, just you and me.
We belong together, baby. You're like music to my ears. You're like water on a desert, baby. And I'm so thirsty for you.